Welcome to the Baer Faxt Live from London, brought to you by Ursula. Check out their magazine. And we start off this episode with the only person in the world with better hair than me, Frank Cohen from Manchester. I'm a Man United fan, you're Man City.
I'm a Manchester City fan.
I know it's kind of tough, but we'll kind of let you go.
I suffered for 30 years, so it's my time now.
It's your time.
Yeah.
The hair's still working. That's what counts.
Yeah, well.
So collector extraordinaire, philanthropist. You know, we're here at the Frieze Art Fair in Regent's Park. You spend like a little time here. What do you think? It's 20 years of coming to Frieze.
I've been coming to Frieze since it opened. And if it was 20 years, it's 20 years. And I've been going to the Basel Art Fair probably 35 years, 40 years.
Is this anything compared to Art Basel?
No. In my opinion, it's the big art fair. To be honest, all the others are sort of, I know you don't like this word, but satellite fairs compared to Basel, which is the, in my opinion, it's the big art fair.
Next week is Art Basel Paris. There's a lot of talk that that'll replace Switzerland. Now, my wife is Swiss, so I don't really think that. I don't see that happening.
I doubt very much it will ever replace Switzerland, because all the Europeans and all the Swiss and all the Germans and the French, they're all on the border, and it's easy to get to, you know, Basel. So, I mean, I think that'll stay.
Now, you remember when Frieze opened, it was like, this will be an art fair that's completely different than any, and now it's kind of like it's October, it's London. What do you remember the beginning of Frieze?
Well, they were all queuing up. I mean, they were all rushing to get in. They were fighting. 90-year-old men from America, great collectors. Some of them are dead now. And they couldn't wait to get in and buy. They were rushing to the stand. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It was just as though...
Was it exciting for you?
It was. At that time, yeah, exciting, because the art game was quite exciting, because in those days, before the art fairs, there wasn't really a lot going on. You know, there was the auctions, there was the galleries, there was dinners, and there was, you know, all the things that went with the art world.
So was it fun? 20 years ago?
Yes, it was fun. I think it was great fun, and I was in the line with all the guys and running in, and to be honest with you, I think all the work I bought, I've still got it in the warehouse. But I mean, you know, it was just it was very good hype, and it was you know, the art world, you know, knows how to create a situation.
Now, my favorite Frieze story of all time, I haven't told you this, involves you at one of the openings at the Frieze Normal, like, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. And you told me that you had just been, it's probably in White Cube's booth or something like that. And you confused Kate Moss and Claudia Schiffer. And they were both pretty pissed that you called Claudia Kate and Kate Claudia. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that, but it's possible that I could have just...
That would have been you, right?
Yeah, I think Kate would have been glad that I called her Claudia.
But Claudia was not too pleased that you called her Kate.
No, but to be honest with you...
You don't remember that?
I can't remember that, but
You're blushing. It happened.
In the art world, there's so many stories that people tell me that I did, and but to be honest with you, I mean, Kate is a great girl, and I know her very well, and she was very nice as well. But I mean,
well, let's call her and see if the story's true.
Can I tell you something? She's fun as well. You can have a laugh with her, you know. I mean, there's so many boring people in the art world. I mean, you know.
Well, tell me about the London and the England art world. You're not from London. You're the people have called you. Maybe you came up with the title, the Saatchi of the North. Now, I'm not sure anybody remembers who the hell Charles Saatchi is anymore. But tell us about England and the art market, because that was a big deal back then.
Well, I really started at probably about 1975 with modern British art, not art.
Is modern British art, the mass Americans, we don't think of that as art, do we?
Well, you do, because if you look at Auerbach and Kossoff and maybe Bacon and maybe David Hockney, I mean, they were known in those days as modern British art. But I'm not talking about them in particular.
There's another level.
I'm talking about another level, earlier level, the 1930s. Edward Burr, David Bomberg. I mean,
all the stuff you see Tate Britain
yes,
that you've never heard of, that we've never heard of.
And you've never heard of. But to be honest with you, the Americans did buy a lot of the sculptures in the, before the Expressionists. They had a lot of the collectors bought in America, and I know because I used to buy an auction and I used to pay 5% import duty. And to be honest with you, they all came from America. So they didn't know about them. But that market sort of folded up. For what reason? And then the American contemporary market started, and they forgot about the English market.
Well, here's an interesting thing. Have you ever followed what's called American painting? There's something, a genre of art called American painting.
American painting.
American painting.
Yeah.
So it's like, it sort of comes out of what could be Thomas Hart Benton. It comes out.
I love that work. And Jacob Lawrence. I mean, the early.
And that market
Tuca
is completely dead.
Completely dead. That is that
in America too, I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I must say that what's dead in America was what I collected. The comparison in England, which was Edward Burr, David Bomberg. I mean, there's
anybody as good as Edward Hopper?
William Scott. No, because
Hopper's
I mean, I must admit the English. It was after, before the war and just after the war, and all the canvases were all dark and gloomy, and I mean they were interesting. I mean, look at Auerbach, who's still living.
Do I have to?
Yeah. But if you look,
yeah,
he painted within 5 miles of where he lives. He walked out, saw the bomb sites, saw broken buildings, and that's his.
I guess I'm always thinking of like English gardens, but I should be thinking about England.
Well,
itself.
You're talking about not Henry Moore,
it's sort of the landscape painters. So that's a separate thing that I don't get.
Well, there was. Look at what about the American artist, the Jonas?
You mean now?
Yes.
Jonas Wood, we're talking about?
Yes. Is he doing gardening?
He's an interesting case, Jonas, and he's got a great show in London. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah. But I
it's
mean,
like it's like doing interiors, but studios, but landscapes. He's sort of not even dealing with art history. So he's sort of on his own zone, which for me is kind of interesting because he's not worried about what did Jackson Pollock go to Warhol.
Yeah,
to Jonas Wood.
But is that an extension of what the English were doing with the garden paintings and
That's a good question.
I mean, Lucian Freud painted gardens. Yeah, they all painted gardens.
Americans,
Edward
Burr. We love Lucian Freud.
Yeah.
We love Bacon, but he's Irish. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't have.
Well, he never painted gardens, but that's for sure. But I mean, that's what I collected in the early days.
And what are you collecting now, or are you?
Well, I mean, all ended in when Damien Hirst did the Frieze show. on the Docklands in London in 1988, that's when I was looking at contemporary art. And to be honest with you,
So
I
tell us more
think,
about that story.
I think Charles Saatchi opened his first gallery in 1985 in Boundary Road.
I went. He was the greatest collector in the world.
Well, he was the greatest collector, and
In
he
the
had
world.
Donald Jordan. He had them all.
It
And
was all great.
we don't need to mention the names because they were all
We're not stacking up
superstars.
to Charles. He's probably not
But
watching.
you know, he bought them. How did he know to buy that American art?
Because it was friggin' great.
But I never knew that because I grew up with modern British. So,
But then you both made that switch into the YBH.
yes, but you know, when I looked at Saatchi, I thought to myself, well, you know, I am a collector, and I threw myself into the contemporary. Maybe started a bit late, but in the 90s. But I was buying not American, but English. You know, like the Damien and Tracy's and
Sarah
and
Lucas.
the Sarah Lucas,
I mean, great artists.
all of it. Yeah,
And that as an American,
yeah,
we got that.
yeah.
We understood that kind of thing, and it resonated to me. And I'm going to use the we in a general sense that I speak for many people. We got that, and it's like,
Yes, and it's still going today.
And still
I mean, Damon is very prolific, and he works. And to be honest with you, the art world, as you know, it's up and down, and it's all everyone's saying this and that and the other. I mean, you know, you have to do what you do. I mean,
how much are you paying attention to what you're reading in the newspapers, the magazines,
well,
on TV about the art world and the art market? Or are you just sort of like, I've been at it 40, 50 years. I don't need them to tell me.
You know, to be honest with you,
You do
I've
read
seen
Baer
it. I've seen it all before. I've read it all before. I mean, you know, they're talking it down at the moment. I mean, let's be honest. The economy is terrible. England is going to have a budget in October. All the wheeler dealers are worried that capital gains tax might rise. So instead of paying 20% on a piece of work that they want to sell, and they have to pay 40%. So, you know, they all look at it with money. I mean, the problem is, I mean, I loved the old fashioned American collectors that bought art because they loved it. They wanted to hang it on the walls, and they give it away, or they kept it until when they died, it went up in tremendous value because they bought great things. They weren't thinking at the time, can I make a quick buck out of it, or can I flip it, or make, you know. And today, it's a lot of money orientated mentality.
But you've bought, you've sold. When you
I
look
sell,
back,
I do sell. I do
when you
sell.
look back, it's like, is the truth you've made a lot of money selling art and buying art?
Absolutely, but the reason why I sell, because I've not really worked in a physical business for 27 years. So I've got no revenue, and I sold my business in 1997.
What was your business?
My business was wallpaper and paint, home improvement, like DIY, like Home Depot in America, B&Q in England. I had 1,300 people working for me. And you know something, I worked my bollocks off since I was like 17 years of age, building the business.
Yeah, you're not
you're
not royalty, right? You were like a poor kid, right?
I just wanted to get out. I had enough. In 1997, I sold the business, and I was always collecting art, and I was always, so I've never sort of retired. I just threw myself into the art world, and formed a few companies and bought a few warehouses and stored it myself and did exhibitions, and it's another business.
I was saying to Frank, I'm one of the 2 Americans that took the train out to Wolverhampton in England, which is like, as an American, Mayfair is not England. Wolverhampton is England.
Wolverhampton is a place you never want to go to. But the only good thing is,
They have a football squad?
yeah, the Wolverhampton Wanderers. And also, if you like Indian food, there's a very great restaurant called the Bilash. But other than that,
You took me there.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, but you know, I take everyone there. But I've had some characters come over the years, but don't forget, I do a vertical operation. I buy the art, I ship it, check it, store it. I don't have to have outside people,
Well,
you know, doing it,
but
you know, and that's.
but you do in a sense, and I'd like to sort of touch on your children are in the art business.
Well, my children never had, unfortunately, any business to go into because when they were growing up, I'd sold my business. And all they knew, they'd lived with art and they grew up with art. But Adam has got a gallery in New York called The Hug from the Art
A
World.
hug from the art world.
A Hug from the Art World, which you've been to. And Georgina is a director of Gagosian, and she's very, very bright and very, very clever. And she also does a lot of curating, and she's a very good writer, and she writes for magazines on fashion. And she's probably a hospitality influencer. She's very, very, very bright. Everyone knows her. She connects with people just like that. Adam has wonderful artists that I've never heard of in his gallery.
He worked
And
for Gagosian too for a long time.
he worked for Gagosian, and eventually he did.
He escaped.
He escaped, but he's still very close to Gagosian. And if there's any deals to
Do
be
you
done,
guys talk about what you buy and sell with them?
yeah, I do. But his idea and my idea, I mean, I was always into modern British, and I pick out things. I mean, in England, not necessarily in America, and he looks at things in America, and he
I
says
feel
like,
like he's American.
well, he told me about an artist called Leela Barberia. She's a sculptor, and I think she's from Uganda, and she's wonderful. And I bought a few, and I've got one in my garden, and I bought Huma Baba, and I've got one. I mean, those. I'm very interested in sculpture because I've got a big garden, and I like to put three-dimensional works in the garden. And you know, Adam has some wonderful artists, um, but the price range is between about $5,000 and $100,000. But he finds artists that have never had a show before, or young and old. I mean, he's got a great show at the moment um, with a guy called, I think he's called Matitsky. He's a Ukrainian and he's 88 years of age, and his work is fabulous.
I was
And,
saying earlier, I felt like it was kind of a cross between Alice Neil
and
Botero
Botero, yeah.
and something Eastern European.
Yes, but I mean,
Triple cross.
he did have a gallery 20 years ago, and the gallery closed down, and this guy has been painting every day. I went to his apartment in Brooklyn with Adam, and we saw the work, and he had a show, and he sold 8, 9, and he almost sold out the show, which is great because he's not doing what everyone else does.
I think he's taken your quirkiness,
Yes.
and you had the means, especially when you were running your big business, to like go your own path. Because I think back then the money wasn't so dominant to it. It was just I want it. It's interesting. It's not. It wasn't changing your lifestyle. and now it's a huge part of your net worth probably and your life, people's lifestyles.
Yes.
But that quirkiness is actually something that people stopped embracing for a while.
Yes. And he's very nice, and he's, to be honest with you, the both,
Yeah, please be honest with me.
right?
We appreciate that.
Yeah, well, they're very good. The different. I mean, I mean, you know what the art world is, and 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 I can tell you a lot of stories. If we had more time, we could go on for 2 or 3 hours with the art.
Okay.
Well, you've
We've
got
known to have some people back. We could
yeah,
watch out for Baer
but
Faxt
you've got
podcast in the future.
yeah. To be honest with you, you've got to understand it and understand the mechanics of it and understand how the thinking of it and how the. I mean,
You mean of the artworks?
yes, and then once you know the galleries, you know what they do, what they don't do, with all the waiting lists, and all of a sudden,
All the BS.
oh yes, and all of a sudden now there is they say a so-called recession in the art world. All of a sudden I'm getting hundreds and hundreds of emails with works for sale with the prices. I've never been able
No
to
one's ever
get them.
contacting us to say, oh, yes, they're sitting there waiting for you to beg them, please take my money. And now it's a different story. It's
It's
like,
a different story. People are out. Well, let's come. Let's have lunch in London. We've not had lunch for a long time. I
like
mean,
30 years you haven't had lunch. Now you want lunch?
I've never had lunch with these guys before, ever. But all of a sudden, and this is why.
Are you torturing them a little bit?
The art world change with the Bank of England with the currency.
It
goes up and down with
in
it.
England, it changed with Saatchi going from the greatest collector in the world
Yeah.
to having different motivations, some of which were good. He bought a lot of stuff and he said, I want to put it up in my gallery. I want to buy it. I want to live with it. I consumed it. Now I'm done. I'll sell it. And he didn't have as much money as it seemed.
I think it was all down to money with Saatchi. I mean, everyone thinks that you buy art, that you're a billionaire, which is a load of bollocks because, I mean, a lot of people
You're not
buy
a billionaire?
Well,
Fuck, I'm out of here.
mean, I wish I was. If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't be fucking buy art.
You wouldn't be sitting here
I
doing
mean,
the
I
Baer
know,
Faxt
I-
live
can
from
I
Regent
just
Park.
Can I just tell you, I bought some great things, and other times,
Did you ever miss something great because it was like 5,000 pounds more and you went, oh.
Never done that. I've always paid over the odds for everything because
Lessons, buy the more expensive, better piece.
I've always done that, and I always pay the next day, and I can't stand all this dripping and this and that.
Tip two,
I mean,
how to get the best things.
Yeah,
Pay fast
always.
And buy the best one.
Yeah, and that's it, and that's how I've always worked. And I'm at heart, I'm a real collector. I mean, I don't want to sell anything. I mean, but because of the continuing buying and selling and being in the art world, I have to sell. Are you with me? I've not got a gallery. I'm a one-man band. I only use auctions or galleries or sell them back to the galleries, and I mean I've not got a clientele, and so really that's the way it works. You know what I mean, don't you?
I think the doom and gloom about the art market is missing an important point. It's like people like Frank, they buy art when it's up, when it's down, when it's left, when it's right.
Yeah.
And, they're still here. And that's kind of your identity, one of your identities.
Yeah.
That and your root for the wrong football team.
Yeah, but I look at something. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of good stuff around at the moment. I mean, there's so much of it. I mean, you can't filter through it. I've just bought an artist who I think is fabulous. She's called Daisy Paris.
Now with Hauser and Wirth.
Well, I bought it of a gallery in Clerkenwell called Sim Smith Gallery.
I think she was in a group show at Hauser.
Oh yeah, she was in a group
And
show.
from what I've read, not in the Baer Faxt story,
Yeah.
that she's making that move or has made that move. There was a work at Phillips
That's
a few
felt.
weeks.
Oh yeah, big one. That fetched $250,000. I mean, that's the. Funny enough, those big ones, more or less, is the primary market price of the. I mean, she reminds me very much of Joe Mitchell.
See, I've never seen one, so it's like things move so fast.
Well, go to Clerkenwell now. She's got a show on, or very good. I mean, but so, and I've got it. I've got it on the wall, and you know, it looks great.
Well, that's the true test.
Aesthetically,
Is bringing it home, living with it, right?
Exactly. And you know something? So many things that I look at, I couldn't put them on the wall. I couldn't have them even in the warehouse. The warehouse would throw them out because, I mean, you know.
Have you had? And we're gonna like wrap up quickly in a sense, but have you brought something home and went, wow, that doesn't work?
Well, I brought something home when my wife just threw me out. She said, either you get out or the art gets out. Are you with me? And it was a frogman made, I can't remember the artist, but it was terrible. And I stuck it in the entrance hall and she went mad. And anyhow, I got rid of it. But I mean...
we have negotiations at home. We have different parts of the house for individual tastes, and then we need to agree on the more public spaces.
The problem is my wife has got more taste than me, and she did the whole house, and she
chose you. So
well, yes, that was yes, she chose me, but she is. She's the one that understands.
So
you know,
we'll have to. We're going to take us out. Baer Faxt live from London. Frank Cohen. We thank his wife for letting him come out to play. We'll send her the tape to make sure it's okay. Once again, thank you to Ursula Magazine. They've been great supporters of the art world, the whole Hauser and Wirth operation, from restaurants to hotels to world-class galleries to magazines. It's really a remarkable thing. And thank you to them for what we're doing. And thank you, Frank, for
and thank you, Josh, and thank you, Patrick. And then that's very good. Thank you. Cheers.
Fight on.